find out if you have questions or comments about any of the resources that you were using. Let's start with Camila Costa. Camila, are you here? Sebastian, are you here? Sebastian Espinosa.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, Sebastian, my question is, what were you working with? Which sound, which website? If you want to share your screen, we're totally fine with that.
Yeah, sure. I practicing more ED ending, ED ending, but
Okay, ETND, yes.
the most difficult to me was I'm sharing my screen.
Yes, please.
Mr. Bruno, I think. Oh, never mind.
Can you see?
Yes.
Yes.
This part. Is most difficult to me. If you can help me, please.
Yes, of course. You got the affricate j, 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 and you have the glide yeah, yeah. So you've got jack and yak, jello and yellow, jet, yet, Jew, you, Jews, use, job, yob, joke, yoke, juice, use. So you've got the difference between j and yeah.
The first one is more like I don't know, strong, como jack and yak. Yeah.
En el primero, el aire se detiene y después se deja ir con un poco de fricción. Entonces queda algo así como y, y, y.
Ya.
Sí, y. Así como cuando uno dice jeans, jeans, jack, jack, y, y, y. Primero se detiene el aire, después se deja ir, ¿cierto? Un poco de fricción. Pero en la producción del segundo es ye, ye, ye. Se levanta la parte de atrás de la lengua hacia la zona, ¿cierto? De la zona velar o el paladar blando, que le llamamos nosotros en inglés velum o soft palate. Ye, ye, y decimos yellow. Por ejemplo, uno no dice yes, o sea, perdón, uno dice yes, no dice yes. No dice you, dice you. Bueno, cuando uno se refiere al pronombre. Entonces, yellow y no yellow. Entonces, esa es la diferencia entre y, que sería el primer símbolo que está ahí, representa ese sonido, and ye, que es un sonido que se le llama glide or semi-vowel. Entonces, hay más fricción en el primero. Se detiene el aire primero y después se deja salir con una especie de fricción. Y. Pero el articular el segundo no se detiene el aire porque uno dice yellow, yes, use, yoke. Eso. Y ojalá, por ejemplo, la segunda pareja que tienes ahí marcada, yo creo que es bien clásica. La segunda sería jet, perdón, la tercera, disculpa. I beg your pardon, it's the third one. Jet, yet. Jet, yet.
Jet, yet. Jet, yet.
You got it, yes.
Okay.
Great, good job. Good job, yes.
Thank you so much.
Very good question.
I have no more question. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you, Sebastian, because your question may help to clarify the same issue, maybe for other classmates of yours here, right? Great question. Yeah, absolutely. I'm honest, right? No kidding.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Anyone else? Let's ask maybe Janina Aranda. What were you doing when you were using the PowerPoint presentation? Which sound did you focus on? Do you have any questions?
I was working with the sound in mountain, like that one is like a glottal symbol.
Yes, can you share your screen? I mean, if you want.
I don't know. Is the thing is that there were some videos, so I don't think it's necessary. And I don't have that many questions. It's just that the sound is kind of difficult to do. So yeah.
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, I totally agree with you. It's a bit difficult to do. It takes some practice, and also it's a lot of exposure. There are some videos. I think I included at least 2 links. Yes, 2 links, and but I also included a PDF file because for some it's easy to read, but for others it's better to watch a video, right? So pointless, football, outside, button. So this okay, take a look at this. I know you say you don't have a question, but this is an elephant of this phoneme. An allophone is a variant. I'll say this, I'll switch to this in Spanish. Un alófono es una variante, es otro sonido, pero que no altera el significado de una oración o de una palabra. Si yo digo button, usando este sonido, representado por este símbolo, button, y si digo button, todos debiéramos entender que hay un sonido, pero todos deberíamos entender la misma palabra. Button, and button se refiere básicamente al mismo concepto. Y entonces es un alófono. Es decir, este glottal stop es un alófono, es an allophone of the phoneme t, una variante, un sonido distinto, pero que no altera el sonido, el significado. Es como cuando en español uno dice chala y shala, o algún hablante dice chaleco y chaleco. Ch and sh son alófonos en Chile, ¿cierto? Porque al pronunciar cualquiera de ambos se entiende igual el significado. Es un sonido distinto y puede ser que alguno sea más correcto que otro o más apreciado que otro, que alguno tenga, lingüísticamente hablando, mayor prestigio que otro, pero eso, el significado no cambia. Cuando yo digo chomba y shomba, shala. The same thing when we say button and button. We use a glottal stop, which is a different sound. So it's an allophone of the phoneme t. It's an allophone because the meaning does not change. We have several examples here. We have that name, quite well, brightly, becomes brightly. So it's an interesting sound. It's an interesting consonant sound because it's quite frequent in some dialects, not in all of the dialects in English, but in some, particularly in Great Britain, you have many speakers that may use this consonant sound. Okay. Here's another question. Do you think that you could practice more, that you could use again the PowerPoint presentation and keep reviewing some of the uh, resources that are there? Do you feel you like to continue working with that? Or maybe you would like to review some specific questions that you have now?
Is this a question for like everyone or just the
It
person
is a
who
question
was
for
talking before?
everyone.
All right, because I have a question, but it's not about a specific consonant sound. It's more about when we talk about voiced sounds and voiceless sounds. It's really confusing for me. I don't know. I think I've asked about this before, but I just can't wrap my head around it. I don't know. I can't tell the difference between like a voice sound and a non-voiced sound. I was actually working with
Right.
with the J sound, and there's like part of the video that mentions that we sometimes mistakenly pronounce J as the other consonant sound that sounds very similar. That if I try to pronounce it, I will just say the same sound as I said with J, so I can't make the example of it. But yeah, I think you understand what I mean.
I do. I do. You're referring to the two affricate consonant sounds. One of them, this one.
Yeah.
Yes, right. And the comparison that you were making, or that they were making in the video, was with this one.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So um, I'm trying to think about minimal pair, because in a minimal pair, you will see that only these two sounds are different. And I think I may have a minimal pair. Let me see if I can, because I'm looking at this. I'm sharing with you. And nope. It doesn't seem okay here.
I think I
We
have
have the voiceless.
a minimal pair of these, but
Yeah.
they just sound the same for me. It's lunch and lunch. I mean, I can tell the difference between those two words, but like in theory, I don't really get it. Like lunch and lunch, they sound different, but I wouldn't be able to tell which one is which.
Yeah, I know what you mean. In final position, these two affricate sounds may sound quite similar, particularly because some speakers may devoice the j. By devoice, I mean that the initial sound in j, when it comes in final position, as in the examples given by Santiago, some speakers may not produce the sound, including vibration of the vocal cords, but the sound is devoiced. The sound becomes like sort of a voiceless sound, so it may create some confusion. In initial position, I think it's clearer because you get cheap, and jeep. The final consonant sound is exactly the same. Even though the spelling is different in terms of sound, it's exactly the same. And they are minimal pairs because the initial sound is different. From ch. In the first one, we get j in the second one. And in here, we've got an interesting case, catch and catch, catch. In this one, we have two affricate sounds in final position. The first one voiceless, the second one voiced. Large, large. large, large. Rich, rage, rich, rage. Let's focus on the final sound only. Ch, 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 ch. Okay, they're tough. They're not easy. Age, the letter H, the letter H.
I think that example is actually really clear for me. Like the H and H. Yeah, that makes it a lot clearer.
Right. And here also we have a final position for the two affricate, the search and surge, surge, search, surge. So it's interesting, at least to me, because if you say rich and if you say ridge, you're basically saying something completely different. I mean, not completely different, but just something else. The alveolar ridge is not the alveolar ridge, right? Her age, or his age, his age. So in one way, in one example, you're saying su H, and the other one su edad. So it's something different, but I guess it's somehow even though they're minimal pairs, some people may pronounce them as almost homophones, right? Other examples, final position, march, marge, march, marge. Hard to say. I think in initial position, it's better, right? Say char and jar, cheer and jeer, chest, jest, ch, j. Yeah, I would say final position is the issue. Initial position, I wouldn't say so, right? Chin,
Yep.
gin. Okay. Um, I would say keep up working because sometimes we would not have a problem as speakers when we're saying cheer and jeer, but sometimes there might be miscommunication at some point when when the listener is not really very flexible to variations, right? So yeah, these are two sounds that we need to work on.
Right.
Thank you for the question. Very good.
Yeah, and
Go
thank
on,
you for
Steele.
the explanation. I don't know, it's really difficult for me to tell when we are doing a voiced sound and a voiceless sound. Like now that I'm seeing these examples, like I kind of get the difference between them, but I've heard like the definition for voiced and voiceless sound is when your throat is kind of vibrating. But for me, I feel like both are making my throat vibrate. So I don't know. But yeah, I guess it's a matter of practice more than anything.
Yeah. It's a matter of practice. It's a matter of exposure. I would say that remember the symbol I drew in the PowerPoint slide, the one that looks like a T and like a long big S, like a whip. That one is the one that we have here in the final syllable, batch. And that one is what we have in Spanish. Essentially, when we say Chile or chancho, we use an affricate sound, which is also voiceless, right? So we can relate to that sound in Spanish because there is a similar one. Now, the other one is the one that we don't have, the G. That's not in Spanish. There are some words that we might pronounce, such as, for instance, when we say jeans, right? I mean, if you say jeans, how do we say that? But if you say blue jeans, if you say blue jeans or blue jean, yin, yin, you're not using this affricate sound, but you're using the one that we use when we say yes, or you, or yoke, blue yin, no blue jean, g, right? Now, if you have a friend or someone called Jennifer, and you say Jennifer, g, then you are pronouncing the sound, right? So it's essentially the same sound that we have here in the final position. Badge, badge, batch. The first one, batch, badge, badge. Mm-hmm. It's not easy, right? Ledge, purge, purge. But definitely, if you use one sound or the other, the meaning is different. It's different, definitely. So yeah, it requires more practice, absolutely. This minimal peer website, I think it's really cool for you to isolate the sounds. I'm going to copy it already, the link, and pasted it in the chat box, but it's also in the PowerPoint presentation. Questions, comments, anything at all? Brian, Camila, Cristina, Emma, Fernanda, Fiorella, Fran, Javier, José, Juan, Matías, René,
Yeah, I think
Sebastián.
that, Professor,
Yes, ma'am.
the T sound is a little bit difficult because it's T and the other T. This is like, I was reading it says it was a stop sound.
Which one
It
are
looks
we
like
discussing, Fernanda? Which
que
one
parece
is?
gancho.
Gancho. Ha, gancho is a friend in Rancagua. Gancho. Yeah, gancho. That's something that we used in Rancagua. People use a lot that word in Rancagua. It's not quite common in the rest of the regions, I would say. Okay, vowel sounds, gancho. This one looks like a gancho to me, but I think it's not the one that you...
Is the one it was next to B in the PPT?
Right, there you are. Okay, now we're talking. Now you can. But I really which one looks like a gancho?
The
Next
last
to a
one,
V.
the first
This,
one.
okay. Oh, okay. The glottal stop. Got it. The glottal stop. Yeah, that is a tough one, right? So, what do you have any comment or question about that? Any specific about the glottal stop? It's like you let some of the airstream go through your nose, right? When you say right? It's like you're blocking the airflow from leaving through your mouth, and then it goes through your nasal cavity at some point. So when you say mountain, at least for me, it's quite nasal. Mountain, button.
You don't need to
Um,
say the vocal between the T and L, like in button. That I can pronounce. Maybe we will
I
say
can,
button, but it's button.
yes,
Something like this.
button. Yeah, I guess you need to let the airstream go through your nose. I would say. Which resource do you use? Which link?
The first video.
The first video. How did you like it? Was it useful? Was it not?
Yeah, yes, was useful because um, I pronounce very bad. I pronounce the T, but it's not T. I mean, I didn't know that I don't need to say the vocal also.
Hello there.
Yeah.
This is the sound.
It says
Yeah, keep going, please. I think this is the one that you were watching.
Oh yes, it was that video.
Okay, this video. So
In American English, these words are pronounced with the glottal T. It's not a mistake to use a regular T sound. Don't worry, you'll be perfectly understood. Still, the glottal T is typical for American English. So if you want to learn more about this sound and perfect your pronunciation skills, keep watching. Okay, let's begin with the question. What is a glottal T sound? If you watch the stop.
okay, I'm not going to replay the video because I'm sure you already watched it, and those who haven't will have the opportunity to watch it, right? Now, the thing is, it's not just typical for American speakers, because also speakers in Great Britain pronounce some of the words with a glottal stop as well. But you're not required to do that, right? You are required to understand the sound, maybe to be able to pronounce it somehow.
What happens is that the T sound becomes a glottal T before a weak syllable ending with mm.
That's important. We get a glottal stop, right? And then there's no schwa here. There was before like sort of a schwa, right? But it's not there. So as there isn't a vowel sound, but we still need a, I mean, there's a syllable here. There's always like after the glottal stop when you have, for example, or a like in bottle, or we use this sort of symbol here, which makes this a syllabic consonant, uh, which basically means that there was a schwa here before, which there isn't. So we go straight from the glottal stop to the consonant without going through any vowel sound, specifically without going through a schwa here. That's what it means here, that this is a syllabic consonant, right? There's this mark here, which is a diacritic mark, which it's actually changing the nature of this symbol, making it syllabic, basically. That's the idea, syllabic. I mean, like sort of, I would say, sort of acting as if it were a vowel sound. I mean, we all know it's a consonant sound, but there was an erased schwa here before.
Button. Listen to some examples. Eaton, fountain, Hilton.
There you have Eaton, fountain, Hilton. Are you able to say this one? Eaton, Eaton. What do you think? Fountain, fountain, Hilton, Hilton. How do you all feel when you have to pronounce this glottal stop? Do you feel comfortable with it? Do you think it's kind of difficult or tough to say? What are your thoughts?
I prefer to pronounce all, not like Hilton. I prefer to say Hilton. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, totally. I agree with that, and you
yeah,
can
it's
live
the
with that. I
easier
mean,
way.
uh-huh. Yep. I mean, you get to choose. You get to choose whether you say eaten or eaten, right? Fountain or fountain. But then the idea is that if you listen to a speaker who is using glottal stops, right? You are familiar with the pronunciation of, for example, the word eaten or Hilton or fountain or any word that may have a glottal stop, and you understand that the speaker is basically not using but using an allophone, which is the glottal stop. Okay, that's an option. The idea is that if you don't want to pronounce this glottal stop, at least you're able to understand it when some other speaker is producing it. Okay, and you don't need to get crazy about this specific sound, which is, not 100% of speakers use the glottal stops. It's present in some American varieties, but also present in other English dialects. Okay, so don't need to worry about this one. But also getting some exposure wouldn't hurt at all. Any comments, any other questions that you might have about the resources you used? By the way, Camila Duce, I received an email and I'm going to reply to the email, right? Just to confirm that with you. No more questions. Now, how do you feel about visiting some other resources from the presentation? What's the idea behind this? The idea, I mean, from my perspective, and I'm going to switch to Spanish for this one for just a bit, is the following. Creo firmemente que el profesor tiene que ser un facilitador. El facilitador, en este sentido, genera experiencias, genera contextos donde los estudiantes pueden aprender. En un contexto donde se usa mucho la tecnología, se puede promover el trabajo individual, porque cada uno tiene acceso a una computadora y no es necesario que estén todos atendiendo a una sola presentación. Eso genera que cada uno puede avanzar de acuerdo a su propio ritmo, volver a visitar algún recurso, alguna página web que hayan visto y que no les haya quedado claro, avanzar, ¿cierto?, a otros y elegir específicamente un foco que ustedes quieran trabajar. Eso se puede hacer en esta metodología y por eso es que los vínculos, porque la información está en la web y se requiere que ustedes se expongan, ¿cierto?, escuchen, practiquen mucho y posteriormente está este espacio donde se pueden aclarar dudas o se pueden hacer algunos comentarios. No sé si les parece este sistema. Creo que a veces ir todos avanzando al mismo ritmo, sí, tiene sus ventajas, pero la verdad es que a veces algunos necesitamos trabajar en algunas áreas y otros necesitamos trabajar en en otras áreas, y algunos necesitamos hacerlo de manera más lenta y otros como que nos aburrimos un poco más rápido y necesitamos avanzar más rápido. Por eso es ese tema que pensé que podría funcionar, pero no sé si les pareció o si les gustaría avanzar a ustedes así como clase, conjunto.
A mi manera, a mí me gustó este sistema. Es que así aprovecho de repasar o ver, por ejemplo, en el niño del video, he visto ya el de la Y, y ahí distinguí varias cosas de cómo está compuesta. Por ejemplo, la primera son dos consonantes. Me sirve harto para repasar, además de la clase. La clase igual sirve harto. Pero, por ejemplo, cuando uno estudia solo, no sé, está escrito en PPT, yo no sé qué explica aquí. También el niño del video ya explicó todo. O sea, al menos eso fue en mi punto de vista, no sé el resto.
Perfecto, muchas gracias, Fernanda.
Yo concuerdo con ella.
Gracias, Camila. Camila Costa.
Yo encuentro bien.
Adelante.
Perdón. Disculpe.
Santiago. Santiago, adelante.
Sí, no, o sea, yo lo que encuentro bien es que es como un poco más personalizado quizás, o sea, en lo que uno quizás se siente como que no sabe tanto o que no lo tengo un poco más claro, no sé, puedo revisar eso, porque de repente, no sé, si uno avanza como con las clases entre todos, como que si tengo algo específico que no me sé, puede que no entienda lo siguiente que estamos viendo, entonces quizás no haría, no sé, en todas las clases una modalidad así, pero quizás cada ciertas clases como para ir... como repasando las cosas en las que estamos un poco más. Claro. Sí, sí, sí.
Perfecto. Fernanda, ¿tú ibas a comentar?
No, que concuerdo con lo que dice Santiago.
Perfecto.
Y yo
Entonces, Sebastián, adelante.
sí pienso lo mismo que es una buena forma, pero también pienso lo mismo que Santiago, quizás estar en solitario no sería bueno, pero sí cada ciertas clases tener una clase como esta sí ayuda, porque lo vemos desde nuestro punto de vista y así resolvemos dudas con usted, que por ejemplo ahora sí me ayudó. Entonces eso también me parece una buena idea, cada ciertas clases. Sí.
Excelente, muchas gracias, Sebastián. Yo sí concuerdo con ustedes también que no puede ser una metodología que se ocupe todas las clases. Permite un avance diferenciado. Sí, reuniéndonos para ver si hay alguna consulta o si algo nos está quedando claro. Creo que los vínculos, sobre todo los audiovisuales, permiten a uno, ¿cierto? Escuchar, repetir. Hay otros acentos, es decir, en vez de acostumbrarse solamente al acento de una persona, hay videos donde hay muchas variantes y nosotros posteriormente vamos a ir trabajando esto en no sé, pues ya quizás siguiente semestre y el tercer semestre, en que nosotros hablamos mucho de RP and GA, Received Pronunciation and General American, pero se malentiende este tema de que a través, digamos, de que hay solamente dos variantes grandes, el RP como representativo de Inglaterra y General American representativo de Estados Unidos, porque son dos dialectos, dialectos estándares, ¿cierto? Que son engañosos porque no toda la gente de Inglaterra habla RP, el porcentaje es muy poco y no todos en Estados Unidos hablan General American. Y aparte de eso, tenemos otras variantes que se hablan en Irlanda, en Escocia, en Australia, en Canadá, en Sudáfrica. Entonces vamos a ir viendo estas variantes posteriormente. Y el tema este de la PowerPoint con los recursos le permite exponerse a distintos acentos, ¿cierto? Y, eh, y ver ejemplos donde ustedes pueden ir, ¿cierto? Viendo en contexto la palabra, porque muchas veces cuando nos enfocamos en minimal pairs, vemos dos palabras, las pronunciamos, cheers, jeers, y quedamos en eso, pero en los videos muchas veces hay contextos mayores, por ejemplo, en el ED Engine coloqué un vínculo para cuentos, los clásicos, cuentos para niños. La mayoría está escrito en tiempo pasado. Permite a usted, ¿cierto?, la lectura. Y recuerden que hay vínculos en páginas web donde les permite a ustedes también copiar una sección, un párrafo, pegarlo y escuchar, ¿cierto? Que son los text-to-speech websites. Me parece que en algún momento eh, compartí con ustedes algo, pero les voy a dejar uno por acá en el chat box. Ok, that will be all for today. The link, I mean, not the link, the PowerPoint presentation, it's already uploaded to the LMS. So that will help you to go back and visit some of the sounds. Specifically, I would say all of these right here, J, J, Z, V, and the are voiced. Only this one is voiceless. I think that we Spanish speakers from Chile have some sort of difficulty whenever we have to deal with voice sounds because we don't say right. And these two do not exist. So that's why I decided to focus on this sound. So the idea is that you can go back whenever you have time to work with this And well, I guess we can continue with this practice in the afternoon, because we've got 4 hours concentrated on Monday. So next time we meet, we're going to focus on some specific sounds, specifically reading aloud, and also recreating dialects. Okay. So I'll see you in the afternoon at 10 to 5. If suddenly you remember the question after we finish the session, you can ask that question later in the afternoon session, right? Any comment, anything at all before we finish today's session?
No, I think it's all good.
No?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. I just want to be sure about this.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to put this in the chat.
Yep. So you're writing, you're typing right now.
Can you see?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I can.
The first one is like the tongue sound like a snake, como thanks. The first one.
Thanks. Yes.
And
Thanks.
then thanks and that or so and that. Exactly? Yeah.
Yes, that's right. In the first column, we have thanks. I don't know if you're all looking at this. I think you are.
Yes.
It's in the chat box. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So in the first column, we have thanks, thick, thought, thumb, path. I think the Spanish guys, Spanish from Spain, have a sound that is similar, right? I think I got this from a student.
La Z o no? No, que la pronuncian con la
Ajá,
I
yeah.
así.
Canción, gracias, something like that. Canción, gracias. Emoción, anything that ends in ción, they produce a theta, right? So emoción, canción. Can you think about any other? Can you think about any other sound in Spanish? From Spain, of course.
Corazón.
Corazón, perfect. Corazón. So that is a very similar sound that we have to produce when we produce this specific one. That is the sorry, I think I'm trying to I'm trying to get the image. I don't know if you're able to see the image now.
Yep.
Okay, great. And the other one is la lengua está en el mismo lugar. Cuando yo digo thanks, la ubico en el mismo lugar, porque tienen el mismo que llamamos place of articulation. The same articulators, the same organs, the same tip of the tongue in between the teeth. But it's then, that, those, this, those, that. Si that yo la trato de decir usando este sonido representado por este símbolo, tendría que ser that. Pero no es that, es that. The same with this one, then. But if I try to produce this this sound here, it would be then, not then. Yeah, so thanks, then. That's kind of difference. So you can compare this
I found a
to.
minimal pair.
Okay,
And
go on.
some also could be dumb. I mean, with D.
Oh, you're right.
Dumb. It is a little bit confusing if you change the letter or you pronounce bad.
Absolutely, very good example. Thumb and dumb, but dumb with a D, right? With a D as in day. Thumb, dumb. Yeah, that's an interesting minimal pair. Absolutely. So that's the idea. Maybe whenever you think about this, whenever you see this this symbol, this phonetic symbol, you can think about the sound that they do, that they produce in Spain, Spanish speakers, when they say corazón, canción, emoción, gracias, gracias, thanks, thick, thought, thumb. And the other one, this symbol representing a word like the, that, then. I always have a favorite one. When I was learning this phonetic symbol, when I was learning to produce a sound, right? I always had this word, thanks, thanks, right? And when I was trying to learn this symbol, and of course the sound represented by this phonetic symbol, I would use the. I would try to remember one word which had this specific sound represented by this specific symbol. So my favorite word was the to remember this sound represented by this specific phonemic symbol, and for this one is thanks. Thanks. So you can think about one word that you can remember that includes this a specific phonetic symbol that it's a little bit difficult or confusing for you. So you always connect, right, the word with the specific sound. In my case, it was thanks and for this one. So think about one word. I think that's something that it's helpful for you to remember.
Yes, everything is clear. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, because these two guys, these two sounds are somewhat complex to remember. I totally agree with that. Questions? Any comments? Anything before we go on a lunch break?
Yeah, sounds good.
Alrighty. Enjoy your lunch break. I hope you have a good day, and until we meet, hopefully 10 to 5. See you. Enjoy the day. Goodbye. So
Goodbye.
long.
You too.
Bye. See you
Bye.
later.
See you in the
See you
afternoon.
Bye-bye.
later. Bye.
All right.